A wife who can't even handle basic chores is just dead weight, my husband slurred as he staggered into the house, clearly drunk. He yanked open a drawer and pulled out a stack of papers. You know what happens to useless things? You throw them away, he sneered, waving the divorce papers in front of me. I met his gaze, unflinching. So this is what I am to you? A maid you can toss aside when it suits you. This is the marriage you wanted. My voice was sharp, cutting through his smugness. I didn't wait for an answer. Without hesitation, I grabbed a pen, signed the papers, and shoved them into my bag. Then, I turned on my heel and started packing. My husband and his mother stood there, watching with satisfied smirks. You've got nowhere to go now, my mother-in-law taunted. Yeah, not our problem anymore, my husband added. Good luck, homeless. My name is Bellamy, and I'm 27 years old. Up until recently, I was a housewife. I had married Vincent, a man 3 years older than me, believing he was mature and dependable. He had this calm demeanor, and the way he spoke about his mother made me think he was a devoted, family-oriented man. But that illusion shattered soon after our wedding. On the day we married, his mother greeted me with warmth and kindness, making me believe I was stepping into a loving family. I truly thought we'd have a happy life together. Then, out of nowhere, Vincent insisted we move in with her. He reasoned that since his father had passed away years ago, she needed companionship. Wanting to be a good wife and believing I could trust his mother, I agreed. It didn't take long for everything to change. Bellamy, hurry up and bring me some tea. And while you're at it, clean the bathroom and the toilet. My mother-in-law's voice was sharp, her tone no longer kind. Any warmth I had felt was gone, but the biggest shock came when I discovered someone else living in the house, someone no one had ever mentioned to me. One morning, I walked into the kitchen and froze. A man I'd never seen before stood there casually making coffee. He glanced at me and spoke first. You must be Bellamy. I'm Dean, Vincent's younger brother. I was stunned. No one had told me Vincent had a brother, let alone that we'd be living with him. Dean was my age minus 27. Still confused, I asked my mother-in-law about him. Oh, Dean, just ignore him. He's nothing but a useless recluse, she said dismissively. I hesitated. Your son is a ghost? She scoffed. I only care about Vincent. Dean's just a burden who never leaves the house unless he absolutely has to. Her words shocked me. I had already started seeing her in a different light, but hearing her speak so cruelly about her own child was jarring. I had grown up an only child, so I couldn't relate to sibling relationships, but if my mother had spoken about me like that, I would have been devastated. My parents had passed away when I was young, so part of me envied Vincent and Dean for still having a family. At the very least, I had expected their mother to care about them both. That night, when Vincent got home, I asked him about Dean. Maybe the two brothers were close, and their mother was just being harsh. But Vincent's answer was cold. Just ignore him. He doesn't matter. I was stunned. He spoke about his own brother like he was nothing more than an inconvenience. It was obvious. Vincent was a complete mama's boy. That night, after finishing my chores, I walked upstairs already regretting my marriage. As I reached the hallway, I nearly bumped into Dean, who was heading to the bathroom. You're Vincent's wife, huh? He said. Yeah, why? I asked. He hesitated before saying, listen, I won't get involved in your business, but if you're smart, you'll get out of here. I frowned. What? I'm serious, he said quietly. You should get a divorce. His words stung. I had married Vincent because I loved him. Sure, things weren't perfect, but to hear his own brother tell me to leave, it hurt. I can handle it, I replied firmly. I'm not the type to run away. Dean sighed. I see. Something about his expression made me second-guess my first impression of him. Up until now, I had assumed he was just another strange part of this household, but maybe he was trying to warn me. As I stood there, lost in thought, Dean muttered, "Good night," and disappeared into his room. The next morning, as I set the breakfast table, Dean came downstairs for a drink. Good morning, Dean. Want to eat with us? I asked. He glanced at his mother before answering. Good morning, Bellamy. Thanks for asking. Before he could say more, my mother-in-law cut in. Bellamy, I am not eating breakfast with that thing. Just serve breakfast and stop trying to play nice. Dean tensed. I'll pass, he murmured before heading back to his room. I clenched my fists, holding back my frustration. "Listen up," my mother-in-law said sharply. "Your only job is housework. Don't overstep." I swallowed my anger, but Vincent wasn't any better. "You made curry today," he scoffed that evening. "You should have told me. I already had curry for lunch." I frowned. How was I supposed to know? Why didn't you tell me? Instead of answering, he exploded. "You're not even going to apologize. Who do you think you are? You're here to do housework. Start acting like it." It hit me then. Vincent didn't love me. He just wanted a live-in maid. I watched as he and his mother laughed together in front of the TV, completely unbothered by the way they treated me. Quietly, I went upstairs. As soon as I shut the door, tears spilled down my cheeks. Then, out of nowhere, a handkerchief appeared in front of me. "You should leave," Dean said gently. I looked up, startled. I'm sorry," I muttered, quickly wiping my tears. "I didn't mean to use your—" "I gave it to you so you could use it," he said simply. Then, with a sigh, he added, "I heard everything. I already knew. They're the worst." I sniffled. "What do you mean, you knew?" Dean hesitated, then admitted, "I've seen this before." After some pressing, he told me the truth. Vincent had been engaged before, but his fiancée had run away just before the wedding. Why? Because Vincent and his mother had treated her the same way they were treating me. A weight lifted off my chest. So it wasn't just me. It had never been about me. I had trusted a lie. But still, where could I go? Then Dean asked me something completely unexpected. "Bellamy, can you draw?" I blinked. "Ha, you know draw. Are you any good at it?" I hesitated. "Well, I did go to art school." He nodded, as if confirming something to himself. And just like that, my life was about to take a completely different turn. Before I could even respond, Dean's eyes lit up. "Really? That's amazing," he said excitedly. I frowned, still confused. "Wait, what do you mean?" "Perfect timing. I know a manga artist who's looking for an assistant. You can do the job remotely," he explained. "But I don't even have a computer," I admitted. Dean shrugged. "No problem. I have a spare one you can use." "Seriously? That's incredibly generous of you." "Thank you," I said, truly grateful. "But why do you have an extra computer? What exactly do you do?" Dean smiled. "Nice of you to ask. You don't think I just sit around all day doing nothing, do you?" I shook my head quickly. "Not at all. You're polite, well-kept, and way too organized for that. You work from home, don't you?" "That's right," he confirmed. "I'm an engineer." My eyes widened in surprise. "An engineer?" "I used to work for a company, but now I run my own business," Dean explained. "You own a business?" I repeated in shock. He nodded. "It's easier that way. I have a team, including web designers, and we all work remotely." I crossed my arms, thinking, that makes sense. But your mother and Vincent always say you do nothing but waste time at home. Have you never corrected them? Dean chuckled. "Why would I? Nothing good would come of it." "Fair point," I admitted. "But if you're doing so well, why haven't you moved out of here?" That was the first time I got a glimpse of what Dean was really thinking. Without hesitation, he made a phone call, and just like that, I had an interview scheduled with the manga artist. It was set for Wednesday, the perfect day since my mother-in-law usually went out after her lessons, giving me uninterrupted time. The interview went smoothly, and to my delight, I was hired on the spot. Since I couldn't use my current address, they agreed to send the hiring documents to Dean's place instead. Next, we needed to figure out where I would live. "I know someone at a real estate agency. They can help find you a great place at a good price," Dean said. "Who is this guy? He has a solution for everything." I thought, amazed. Sure enough, with his connections, I found the perfect apartment and signed the lease. Just when I thought things were finally looking up, a confrontation with my husband turned everything upside down. One night, Vincent stumbled into the house, reeking of alcohol. "Hey, where's my dinner?" he slurred. I groggily sat up. "It's the middle of the night. You said you wouldn't be eating at home, remember?" "Shut up," he snapped. "I'm the king of this house, and you won't even get up to greet me. Now you're telling me you didn't cook? You're a pathetic excuse for a wife." His arrogance made my blood boil. "Do you have any idea how hard I work around here?" I shot back. How dare you act like you're above me? You're my wife, he scoffed. Your job is to take care of the house. That's it. If you can't even do that, you're worthless. Just then, the door creaked open. My mother-in-law stood there, a cruel smile on her face. He's right. You're just trash. And Dean, he's trash too. This whole house is a garbage dump, she sneered. Vincent let out a chuckle. Yeah, time to take out the oversized trash. I narrowed my eyes. What do you mean by that? He reached into a drawer and pulled out a stack of papers. These are divorce papers, he said with a smirk. You're no use to me anymore. I'll just find a better wife, so get out of my house. You disgust me. I stared at him, my heart pounding. So that's all I ever was to you? A maid? A servant? My voice was cold and sharp. I hope you live to regret this. He scoffed. Regret? You're just a jobless, homeless nobody. What could you possibly do? His mother cackled. Exactly. You have no power here. You're garbage and you'll always be garbage. At that moment I realized I didn't care anymore. Fine, I said simply. I grabbed a pen, signed the papers, and shoved them into my bag. Then I started packing. Vincent and his mother just stood there, grinning smugly. Where are you even gonna go? She taunted. You're homeless now. Vincent crossed his arms. Not our problem anymore. Good luck, street rat. Then he turned his attention to Dean's room. Oh, and Dean, you should leave too. Now's the perfect time to kick out both pieces of trash. We're gonna knock down that wall and expand my room. It'll be way more comfortable without you here, he added with a smirk. I had expected to be thrown out, but Dean too. I turned to him, guilt washing over me. Dean, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. Dean shook his head. No, don't apologize. This was bound to happen. Honestly, I've been looking for a reason to leave anyway. He smiled slightly. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. 2 days later, when my mother-in-law was out of town, Dean and I called a moving company and left for good. A few days after settling into my new place, my phone rang. I had forgotten to block my ex-mother-in-law's number. You moved out? She asked mockingly. Why avoid us? I think you know the answer, I replied. She hesitated before blurting, Dean left with you, didn't he? I smirked. Yep. And I couldn't be happier. Her tone suddenly shifted. Where is he? He won't answer my calls. Too bad. Maybe he just doesn't want to talk to you, I said, enjoying her frustration. You ran off together. You must know where he is, you little. I cut her off. Figure it out yourself. You don't have a home or a job. If you beg me, I might let you come back, as my maid, she sneered. I laughed. Actually, I do have a home, and a job, so I have no reason to ever come back. From the background, I heard Vincent shout, she's lying. I hung up and blocked her number. And just like that, I was free. A year later, Dean proposed to me. But that's a story for another time. Happiness is finally mine. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.